about this group. We try to be really intentional about who we ask. One, we want to have a lot of different personalities that would resonate with everybody in the room, or at least someone in the room. Different styles of doing business, and just general good humans that are willing to take the time and energy to share. These are all super busy people. They don't have to be here. They're here to free share. Share, leave free. And we're very, very grateful for that. So would you guys mind maybe just do a quick intro of yourself, how long you've been in the business, if you're comfortable sharing production. I don't think it's braggy, I think you've earned it. So totally up to you. Just share a little bit, we'll go down the line. Somebody's got to start that.
All right, I'll start. The good news is I have really sweaty pits right now. So, and I actually don't need to talk on a microphone because the more nervous I get, the louder I talk. So, I'm Brooke Miller. I work for the Gile team. I've been in the business 12 years. And this year, I've had my very best year of my entire career. I've written and sold over 80 million. So I guess I'm an unorganized hot mess, but I do what I do, and I love what I do, and no one will work harder than me. So there you go, that's me.
100 million. No, I'm kidding. So watch out, Brooke. No, I am Jennifer Weaver. I've been in the business for over 10 years as well. I've been with Compass for 3. It's been an exciting journey, and it has been super exciting. I don't do business like that, but I would say I average anywhere between 30 and 35 million a year, which I'm pretty proud of as well, and looking forward to making it even better.
I'm Shireman with West Village Realty, and my mom, my sister, and I opened our own brokerage in 2021. And yeah, I'm having a great year, which is really exciting. I have sold 90 homes for close to 47 million. So I'm really thankful for this year. It's been a really awesome year. So yeah, I'm excited to hear from you today because I mean, yeah, lots of amazing knowledge here. So.
My name is Chris Austin. I am holding down the fort for the men. I'm doing well, so don't get too excited. This will be my 20th year selling real estate, so I feel like I'm an old man in the industry at this point. 90 million makes me feel tired just hearing it. So, in order to not make her look bad, I'm going to only sell 43 this year. And so it's been a roller coaster year.
I'm Pam Hendrix. I've been in the business for 19 years, and we recently made a move to Real Broker, and change is hard, but change is good. So we average approximately 36 to 42 million dollars a year in volume and around 100 transactions, give or take. We have a small team of 7, and yeah, we're surrounded by great people, and I love this business. So that's us.
It's so weird holding this tiny mic, but it's not going to stay on my lapel. Pretty incredible group of people, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Yeah, feel free to guess. So they all are really good at a lot of things, but they're all exceptionally good at 1 or 2 things, and that's their thing. And I think sometimes it's easy in our businesses to get overwhelmed with all the things they tell you to do, especially if you're newer getting going. It's like drinking from a fire hose. You have to be a social media expert and a database expert and great on the phone and great at open houses, and it's really hard to be good at a lot of things. And I think the reason they're so successful, and knowing some of them really well and interviewing them as well, is that they figured out what they love and what they're good at, and they do more of that. And so, if it's okay, I'd like to start with that question. If you could only do 1 or 2 things to generate business, what are you doing?
I think you all should.
So we focus on the people that we already know and that already know, love, and trust us, and we take excellent care of them. So was telling Jen, we start with our event season in September. We deliver mugs to people's porches in the fall, and then in October we have a Portraits in the Park event. In November we have a drive-through for pies, so they come to us and pick up the pies. And then December's a holiday card, and February is Share the Love, where we give them a pizza, a nothing but cake, and a bottle of wine or sparkling grape juice or champagne. And so we started out, when I talk about these numbers, I know they sound daunting. If you haven't done it before, we just gave away 460 pies. We're always looking for a way to give back to the community too, so we match any donations at this time of the year for harvesters. And we raised 11,000 meals for harvesters this year. So we're super excited, and we're always looking for a way to give back to the community. I would say that most people want to do something and they're too busy to really know what to do, so you provide them an opportunity, and then they feel part of a group and they want to continue to come back to you. So I pulled up the pie numbers actually, just so I can see where we've been and where we've gotten to. And our first pie event was 10 years ago, and we gave away 139 pies then. So we've grown year over year with that. And yeah, that's events, taking care of people, my favorite thing.
Still a lot of pies, right? But I mean, your business has grown, you've added, and there are some people who start out and give 5 pies or 10 pies. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed by some of the things they're going to share, because everybody starts somewhere and we're going to talk about it.
And if I could add to that, I also looked at where we were before our first event. So the Dell started bringing the fee to our office. I think we did it probably before that.
I was in that first class, there was like 25 of us.
It was fantastic.
Game changer.
And I hadn't communicated with the people that I had helped prior to that. I mean, I know, you spent all this time with them, and you love them, but then they didn't see me again, so who knows if they remembered my name. So the first time we took that class was 2013, and we did 66 transactions that year. And we did a travel mug, a coffee mug, something that we always give things of value that I would want to keep myself. And so we got this really cool mug. We spent $1,652. That includes print and everything on the Popeye tanks. And gave away these mugs, and we got 16 referrals out of that. And I was like, oh wow, they don't hate me because I haven't talked to them. They want to be acknowledged, and it said our cup overflows with gratitude for you. The next year, with that, and then we just started doing Popeyes regularly. We went from 66 transactions to 85 in 1 year, just to tell people that we care about you and we love you. And so what we learned over the years was that when we made it about us, it didn't resonate. Okay, have your peeps call my peeps didn't do anything for us, right? We tried it just didn't work. But when we poured into them, it worked every time. And when we shared the love that we have for them, it came back in droves every time. So that's the thing.
So if there was only a couple of things that we could do.
So only get 1 or 2, man.
Only get one or
We
two.
talked about this.
For us, it's first of all, it's a database thing. You can't sell real estate or run new clients if you don't have a working database. Once you have that working database, I can't say much different than what she said. It's all about pouring back into it. For us, it's all about relationships. We built this business solely based on relationships, and we learned a long time ago that your clients, just like your house, can appreciate it. And what that means for us is that we invest solely into the people that already love us and make that our whole business model, that they become raving fans and they tell everybody about you. And so we built a model off of that. And so everything that we do has to do with investing back into our sphere, the clients that have already used us, the people that will be using us. And we do that through several client events. We've got one coming up this weekend where we'll have between 500 and 600 clients show up. It's hanging out with Santa Claus, feeding them food. And we spend a lot of money every year on these events, but what we get back from it is tenfold every single year. It really sets us up really well every year by doing these throughout the year. So other than that, it's just constant contact and making sure we're staying front of mind, because the clients aren't out about whoever, even though we like to think that they are, because we think about them all the time. So it's always trying to figure out how to own that piece of their mind. We do that through constant contacts, through calling and checking in on them, through writing them personal notes throughout the year. Just let them know that they're on our mind, and we're here to serve them, and dropping off little gifts. Again, I was probably in that first class with Maria as well. And I was the pushback guy of the gifts. Dropping off a pot of seeds is a stupid thing. Might people want it. It's never about the gift. It's always about the activity. So we just figure out ways to pull back into our people and continue to grow the database. And that's the two things I would focus on always.
Hold it for a second. Is there anything in particular that you capture information-wise in your database that would be important for them to know?
Yeah, I mean So we like to know what our clients like. Whenever they close on a home, we're asking them, hey, when's your birthday? What kind of coffee you like? What's your favorite restaurant? Keep those things in mind. So if we're going to drop something off, it can be more personal. Or if we're going to write a personal note, every time we have a conversation with them, we're writing everything about that conversation down. So the next time, either I contact them or somebody on my staff, that we're making that conversation personal to them, because people get contacted all the time. By doing that, we have found that people are more willing to pick up the phone in a world where we're getting scam calls or sales calls all the time. So if you make it personal, they're excited to see your call. They want to pick up the phone. And we have found that personal relationship, there's a lot of times we're one of the first people to find out when someone's having a baby, or when somebody had somebody pass away. Like we're on that first call list, not because they need to sell or buy a home, but because they genuinely believe that we want someone. And that's something that we've created through genuinely asking the questions and having conversations.
That last sentence is very important. I hope everybody really heard that. Real quick tip, if you haven't been collecting data and want to go back and collect data, we've just used Google before, and it's maybe 10 questions, which is probably the most you'll get people to answer. Ours is called Just a Few of Your Favorite Things, like from sound to music. We capture favorite drink, favorite coffee shop, favorite store, if they're a book or a plant person, and then if they're really special to us and it's a birthday or something important's happened, we're going to give them something meaningful. So we've dropped off gifts to some of our top people, and it has their favorite cake from J. Alexander's, and they're like, how did you know? I said, well, we grabbed this information from you when we're tracking you at one point. But it's a lot more special than just a generic gift card. So I, like Chris, got into Pavini late. We'd already been in business for a while, and had my database probably on no cards. I don't know. So if you're that and you need to go backwards, you still can.
I don't know. Bikini is awesome. I'm a really big fan. Okay, so if I were going to say two things, I would say social media and gifting. I think those two things are huge for my business. Social media to me is like a constant contact with our clients. If you're showing up front facing, talking to the camera, you are talking to every single person on your follow list, but every single one of your clients. So every single person has an opportunity to feel like you talked to them that day, which is massive. That is huge. That's honestly, I attribute so much of my success to people just feeling like I am constantly talking to them. So that's number one. Gifting honestly coincides with social media. So I use as soon as I close a deal or as soon as I'm working with someone in a transaction, I'm following them, I'm following their boyfriend who I don't really know or whatever, to make sure that I know when they're excited about something in their life. They're gonna post their job that they just got, they're going to post their engagement, whatever it is, and I use those opportunities to instantly send a gift. So that becomes something that then they're posting on their stories. And obviously it can start really small. It can be like a $5 Starbucks gift card in the text message. Just like I've started doing that for my moms who are like going back to work after maternity leave and saying like, thinking about you. This is, a hard transition, but I want you to know that I'm here for you, whatever. And that happens because people post on their social media and say, oh, I'm so sad, I have to drop my baby off at daycare today. Those reasons, social media can be so impactful. So I think getting over the fact that it can be intimidating to go on and put your face on there, I know that that's awkward and weird sometimes, but with lots of practice and a lot of repetition, it can become so natural and so easy and huge for your business.
Hold it for a second.
Okay.
I'm going to have you touch a little bit more on social media because to post? How often are you posting on business versus social, family? Anything helpful tips there?
Yeah, I always say follow that 80-20 rule and do 80% personal and 20% business. That might feel backwards, but your Instagram or your Facebook or your TikTok, whatever platform you want to do, is an interview. It's an active interview constantly. People that look you up are going to see your social media page. So know that that's just kind of happening. And if it's intimidating, I would say get over it and just start doing it, because it honestly, I know it can feel like very like, oh, no one wants to see this. Everybody wants to see you. It's literally like exciting to hear you talk about something other than just listed or just sold. So go and talk about your kid's recital or your best friend who just got an amazing job. Start talking about other people if you're uncomfortable talking about yourself. So I would say getting used to it, a lot of practice, and also, if it's not your thing, there are other things. So I always tell people, if posting about real estate is uncomfortable, start posting things you are comfortable talking about. So figure out what you're passionate about. One of our agents just posted like a wreath making reel, and that was awesome because it just was an opportunity for people to see her doing something on social media, which is great. So
I would agree with that. If I had to pick two things, I would say number one would be basically how I kind of started out in this business. I started out doing crazy open houses. I was a nut. I was doing minimally 2 a weekend, and I never ever took a weekend off. Like for 3 years, it was like, okay, July 4th was the only weekend off. It's like our family like holiday. I would like start to tip if I wasn't doing an open house because I knew the potential was there, that I could connect with somebody really fast. And I actually went around my office when I first started, and I went to big agents and I said, hey, does anybody have any open houses? They're like, yeah, we don't really like open houses. 10 years ago, they were not the thing. That was the statistic of the whole like 1% maybe sells an open house. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go try it. And suddenly, like I was selling the house. I was finding buyers, and I was actually selling the agents the house, and they were like, oh my gosh. Suddenly, after a few months, all the agents in the office were like, will you hold my open house? Will you hold my open house? I was like, I will. I love it. Because no one really liked it back then. And I did. I loved it. And I came from a background of decor and fashion. And so to me, before I was selling a room, now I get to sell the whole darn house. And I get to tell you all about this house. So the minute that somebody would come in, it was like instant, like friendship, partnership, let's talk. And so that for me is how I built my business. I still do them still all the time. It is part of my proposition that I share with the people that I sell to say, hey, because they'll say, are you gonna open that open house? I say, you bet I am. I'm gonna be right there. But then when I do that open house, it's a celebration. So if you haven't come to one of my open houses, I invite you to come because it is all about a mini party, if you want to call it that. But it really has. So I have an open house this weekend. I already have themed cookies that are I get them from Dolce every Saturday. Every Saturday I pick them up. So I have them themed. They have house address on it, or it's something fun, something seasonal. So that's already ordered. I have, of course, it's holiday, so I have a lot of red and green ordered already. So it's gonna be red and green. Everybody comes by to eat. It's all cool. But so really, I mean, that's what I love that differentiates. When people come, they're like, holy cow! And guess what? When everybody's nervous or they're like, hey, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. Talk about some Christmas popcorn. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. And guess what? The other piece too that I found is that the kids are always gonna come around me. Well, I start talking to the kids, then the parents start looking at the house, then I start to know what the kids are saying about the parents and what they've already talked about, what they want with the house, and that has really become something super, super special to me. I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's kind of really been my differentiator of really hosting something open houses that are big parties.
Can you tell she loves it? She's like smiling here all the time. She's known as like the open house queen. People go to her for this. She teaches classes to others on how to host an open house.
Over the top open house. I mean,
Yes,
it really is over the top.
Share, because we talked about this. I don't want anyone in the room to be overwhelmed by, oh, I'm not a great party planner, oh, I don't have that big of a budget. So what can they do to take it over the top light budget?
Well, everybody likes to craft, right? No, I'm kidding.
No, they don't.
I mean, not really. But that's a cheaper way. I mean, like, here's the thing. There's there's always somebody else that can do something that you don't love, right? And find them. They're your friends. Like, we love social. Somebody else can do that. So if something is expensive and you're like, hey, I don't know what to do, ask somebody else to say, hey, can you make this for us? Because making things is much less expensive. But then again, I also think, again, if you're trying to make an impression, putting out that little bit of something extra is going to make that impression. That's something that someone else hasn't done, right? And that is like what makes it important. So I don't think it has to be expensive. It really doesn't. But look at all your resources. How many of you do an open house and you reach out to a lender to get information about the house? Okay, one person in the room. So again, okay, two. Thank you.
Is it because you're afraid we're gonna ask you to go to coffee after?
But that again is showing like what you can have out there on that table and that house or in that kitchen or whatever you have is all items that hopefully of some value. So you should be, open house this weekend, you should call the lender, whoever it is, should be Jen, that's gonna be hosting a coffee or whatever, and say, hey, print some flyers and tell me a little bit about the rates or what we can do, so that's on there. So here, there's something there to look at. Then you're like, hey, what else should I have? I should probably have maybe something about the neighborhood. So you're gonna have something about the neighborhood, something that's happening, what's something new? Because you should know that neighborhood inside and out when you're hosting that open, right? And then people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that this restaurant was here. I didn't even know that this was opening up next month. This is so cool, I can live right here. I didn't know that these schools were rated that high. Like all of these things, like if you didn't notice, like I will not let I just keep talking. Like I'll just keep telling. But seriously, but that also, that client is like, she knows her stuff. Like, oh my gosh, because there's so much information to share. So I think that again, that elevated open house is just the way to go. I mean, when I started, 80% of my business, 75 to 80% of my business, my first 2 years were completely from open houses. And guess what? Now those are all my regular clients. I've sold their houses 2 times, 3 times because of that open house 10 years ago. But I didn't even know them. I didn't know them. Now they're a part of my crucial SO as well. It's my sphere. But I think the other piece to that too is what everybody else has said. My other big piece is it's about gifting. It's about elevated customer and client service that like is no other, and that comes through those gifts and really knowing. So that pop-by process is extremely important to me. I have a calendar that goes out like pretty much what I think about every month. That's something that would go, but it's not that little item. It's got to be something that's like cool, right? What's something that they didn't know about? What's something that they never thought about getting? What is the best cookie that just opened up? What is something else that you just are like, oh, that plan, whatever it is, bringing something special. I don't know, has anybody read the book Giftology?
I was just gonna say,
That is the best book. I mean, it will make you feel good, first of all, but it will give you that really, that it's basically about surprising and delighting, right? And that, if you think about that, that's how you win that client, because they're like, wow, she really did surprise me, or she delighted me, or that was something I didn't know about. I didn't know that I could get that at Trader Joe's. I didn't know that little fun little gift. I didn't know you were actually thinking about me. And thinking about really your rotation every month, people are like, how do you get around to everybody? Well, that's a challenge, but people can be hired for that too, to help deliver, because when you're talking how many can you personally deliver, that's hard, right? When you're starting to think about 100 possibly a month, maybe 125, maybe 150, you can many of you have children probably in the room. Guess what? They can help, and that's where we can get to and touch everybody. But then it's your connection after that was dropped off. If it wasn't you personally, you figure out who your A clients are. You go to those clients, and then you get help for the rest. But yeah, it's all about the gifting, the pop buys, being creative, and giftology.
and I would say another great book is Unreasonable Hospitality. In the same tone. Whoa, Billy. Those two, this is a tough one to go after.
So I would say a lot of my business comes, and it has been coming from the last couple of years, is heavy prospecting. And when I say prospecting, I call probably 6 hours a week, maybe more, on FSBOs, for sale by owners, canceled, and expireds. And I just dial for dollars. And I would say probably 20 million this year of my success has come from prospecting. So, and I think at first it feels a little bit uncomfortable, and people will hang up on you. People will tell you that they're not interested, but as soon as you get it down and you call and you text and you stay consistent, people finally are like, okay, she does believe in my house. And another thing that this is a little bit off the topic, but like I partner up with Kathy Caleb. Man, that's a shitty partner. So Kathy has been in the business for 45 years. So her and I make calls together, and people, they listen to us. And and those people that we prospect and become clients, they buy from us. And then again, you have that relationship that each and every one of us has talked about, and they become clients and they trust you and they refer you to their friends. So that is something that I've really done heavy on this year, and it's paid off. The other thing that I do is, if you guys think about this, so everybody has a different set of clients. Like some people are young, they don't have kids. Some people are older. So Erin, Laura, a couple of people on our team, we actually rent a bar out. Yes, it could be a liability, but it's been okay so far. So we get the young people. Who's going to turn down booze? So they get 2 free drinks. We do it at the Crossroads. It's a tequila party. Who doesn't like tequila? And that Alex might know, but you guys, we've had like 300 people, 250 people, 300. We do a taco truck. It's awesome, and people talk about it. Yeah, it helps with the. And then the second thing is Caleb Warnick team. I think we had 2,000, 3,000 people that came this year. It's a family festival, and we get lenders, title company, so many people to sponsor. And we actually, I think at the end of the day, a lot of money doesn't come out of our own pocket because the people that we have given a lot of business to, we ask them to give it back to us. And what better, ask people to donate. So that's a huge thing. And then, Chris, you were just talking about just this past weekend, when it was snowing cats and dogs and all cars were getting in car accidents, we had a Christmas party that had photos, Santa, photo booth. Unfortunately, the weather, we had 350 people signing up, but probably about 200 people came because obviously the weather, it kind of stopped. But we were appreciative to the people that did come. And then lastly, what I do is at the end of the year, I try to do pop buys throughout the year. But at the end of the year, I try to pick people that have been a really good referral source to me. I actually go and I knock on their door. And I say thank you very much for your referrals. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for being a good client to me. And I feel like a lot of the people now, yes, we have a lot of clients. We're not able to call them, go out every day and be like, hey, can we go to lunch or whatever. But I do think that people consider me as their friends. So you guys all spoke on that. And Facebook, I kind of suck at it. And everything that Hannah was saying not to do, that's what I do. So,
Hannah's talking about the gram. Facebook is for us all.
yeah. So if you guys, though, seriously, if you want to follow someone that has an amazing, she's, wow. I want to become like her when I grow older. But her Facebook, and we each have our strengths. But I know Facebook is becoming more popular. But yeah, like she was saying, this is what you don't do. I'm like, no, I do it every day.
Jordan, Brooke needs your help, Jordan.
Yeah. Yes. So so that's what I do that I think brings me business.
Hold that for a second. So, a little bit ago. So they had a snowstorm and they approached people.com. And I know that's a fear of a lot of people who are hosting events. It's not about the event, it's about the invitation. Okay? It is about the invitation. You're including them, you're inviting them to something, you're reminding them that there's someone out there that cares about them. Sometimes the people that refer us the most from our events are the people who never come. And they'll actually tell me, I'm too busy, I'm not going to come, I have this, I'm running kids, sports. Doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're inviting them. So even if you have one and you have 2 people come, that is a success. Okay, so I want you to hear that.
And I will tell you, so in days leading up to the events, my clients are probably like, God, if I get one more message from her, she is so annoying. But I'm always like, hey guys, can't wait for you to come to the event. Or it's 4 days away, happy Thanksgiving. But I know that's maybe a little bit annoying,
many of you have call reluctance? Just raise your hand. Okay. Like a third of you, maybe half. This is her thing. Yes, she does all those other things, but I've never probably met anyone who is doing it as consistently as you are. So if you're comfortable, one, I want you to talk about the fact that you have the accountability partners, because it's a lot easier to do things if you have accountability. And then two, if you would share script. I hate script.
Kathy Taylor. Okay, so, all right, so you guys, this is an outside the box, and probably like Blake, you don't, Blake he's a big machine. Alex Owen's a big machine, Wendy Foyle. Okay, so I like to partner up with people because it's fun, right? Like, yeah, you do. Unfortunately, you gotta split your commission, but you know, I have Kathy Taylor. Today I'm gonna prospect with her, and I'm like, Kathy is unfortunately, I'm gonna miss her. She's going out of town next week, but I'm like, Kathy, you are not canceling. We have to do this. So it's nice to have someone to be held accountable. So, because sometimes you might get lazy, or I don't want to do that. You know, I'm too busy, or I don't need to do that. But if you actually have a partner that you can depend on, it's nice and it's fun. It makes it more fun, and also, you can also, if you're doing it together, you can get double the clients because you're making calls to different people. So, Kathy, do you want to go do a script? Sure. I think so. This is who I learned from.
Do this one. This one's good.
All right, so this is who I learned from, and she is one of my mentors, and she is better than anybody in the Kansas City area. I'm getting undressed.
I'm getting quickie today. This is an easy one. Pick an area that you like and give them good news. So we called Persimmon Hill today, and we just said, "Hi, Kathy Kaler, CEO of the Kaler Bartney team," and I always say, "And my #1 partners, Brooke." And we want to give you good news over the holidays about Persimmon Hill and what your property's worth. Oh my gosh, is this Betty? Betty, you bought in 2016 and paid $288,000. Now Zillow has you at almost $400,000. But my #1 partner, Brooke, and I have sold 76 homes in your area, 27% over list price. So guess what, Betty? You have jumped to $450,000. Now, you might not want to move, but just for fun, can Brooke and I just come over and tell you what your home is worth? Or who do you know that's going to sell and buy? Maybe someone that didn't like their agent, that needs the #1 agent, Brooke Miller. She's closed $80 million this year. We're closers that we can help protect and get them into their next house and make them the most money. Can we text you? Will you keep our information? Only if you want to make a lot of money. I'd like to smile all the way to the bank with you. Can we go to the bank? Now, it just depends.
Guys, this is actually for real. She does this. And this is now, I've used what she does, and I talk like her.
Here's the deal. One of us makes the call, the other texts. So you're getting, boom, it's done. So today when I sat with Jeff Arrington, I was the caller, he was the texter, we got all the messages. So Brooke, let's do another one. Let's do expire. What do you want? Expire, cancel, expire. Okay. You want to do the call? And I'll do the text.
Okay, so I guess since I'm not the CEO, I'll just say, my name is Brooke Miller. I'm the COO. No, okay. So my name is Brooke Miller. Hi, how are you doing? I have great news for you. Guess what? And they're like, oh God, what? Okay, I said, so did you know since the election, the Caleb Borgnick team has sold 77 homes? Really? Well, when I left the market, we never had a single showing. Well, guess what? Caleb Borgnick team works with out-of-town buyers. Out of the 65 agents on our team, 12 agents work with relocation. What that means is we are going to bring an out-of-town buyer to
to your front door. And guess what? What? An out-of-town buyer will pay you top dollar. How about that? Okay, that sounds pretty good. And then I said, then I asked them about their experience before. Did you have showings? If they start talking to you, they'll open up a little bit. And, a lot of times they don't have showings. And then we're able to talk, we have a Caleb Wortnick team. It's a big team. We have really great marketing. So we can talk about our marketing. We talk about staging their house. I can offer you an exclusive with the Kansas City Business Journal. We have our own magazine. And so I think that gets people's ears up, and so that gets us through the front door. So it's nice. Yeah, so there you go.
That's pretty awesome. But you can tell how natural and easy that is for her, right? And some other people up here that maybe I saw some of them nodding their heads, that's not their style, right? That's what I think is so cool about everyone up here is they're all very different, they're all very successful, and they're all doing it in their own way. Okay, they're handing it to you. Okay. That was awesome. Let's talk about systems. Salespeople are typically really good at sales, not great at systems. And Hannah is a systems ninja. And so we're going to have her share maybe some daily habits, talk about your goal setting, anything you want to share that would be great.
Sure. So my first year of real estate, I sold 3 houses, which math is amazing. And my sister and I, really my sister would be like, I was brand new, I was 22 or 23. And she was like, okay, you don't have anything to do, but here's your schedule for the day. And she just kind of helped me map out a fake schedule, which was really awesome. It was like at 8 a.m., you can write 5 handwritten notes to your high school friends' moms. And that was kind of my beginning system, was like a fake schedule, which was great. But now I would say I heavily rely on systems that are now so natural that they are just who I am. I don't really necessarily have to have a pretend schedule anymore, but the biggest system that I would say is tracking your business. That is number one. Find out where every single person came from so that you can then decide, like on my spreadsheet of people, I have a line or I have a whole column of where they came from, how they got my name, so that I can decide, okay, 40% of my business was from a DM from Instagram. 25% of my business was from a sign call or whatever, and decide, okay, this is where I need to be spending most of my time. So it's really about tracking and becoming really good at those systems in the very beginning and what you enjoy. So I enjoy social media and gifting, and so that became a system for me, which I said, like, as I'm scrolling Instagram, that's one of my systems, because I'm scrolling Instagram to see which of my clients are posting that their dog died so I can send them a dead dog mug. Just kidding. But no, that really is a thing. That is a true thing. But those systems become a place of where you become so ingrained in those routines. So yeah, I feel like systems are something I'm super passionate about. I graduated with a degree in education, so I love organization and all of that. So yeah.
Do you track it on your spreadsheet? Is that dog mug?
They're on the spreadsheet.
And you use a Google Sheet, yeah?
Yes, Google Sheets is my ride or die. I do not have a CRM. I don't pay anything for a CRM. I love Google Sheets. If you're really adamant with it, if you're really organized, Google Sheets is amazing. Just use that. Yeah.
Anybody else on systems want to share anything that you do that's been successful, helpful?
Well, I'm a man, Jen. Just I'm afraid.
I said, don't be afraid. I didn't say you were.
Call me out. No, I mean, it's systems. It's going to sound cliche because we've already talked about the Cosmos, Popeyes, and tracking. For us, we plan our entire next year's marketing calendar a year in advance, so we know what's coming up. We don't have to think every single year, so it's just kind of we know that in January we're gonna be calling for these reasons, we're gonna be writing this for these reasons, we're gonna be doing this client event. Each month is like that. So our system is just a system of contacts where we're keeping in constant contact with our people through different activities.
Maybe share, Chris, some of the reasons to call, because you're talking about specific months. It's a lot easier if you chunk it down that way, guys. But if you haven't written in advance, then you're not, who do I call and what am I calling about? Any specific topics?
Yeah, so on our sheet when we're mapping out the next year's calendar, we have reasons to call as one of the things. So when it's a holiday month, that's a pretty easy one, right? Where you're calling to wish them a happy Valentine's Day or whatever. Or if you have a client event, that's a really easy one because you're doing all the communications up to that. When you don't, this is where call reluctance comes in. People have call reluctance because they feel like they're bothering people too because they don't know what to say. So we started calling people as a service call. So whenever it's a month where we have nothing going on, we have no reason to call. We're calling and saying, hey, this is just a service call. Just wanted to check in on you and your home to see if there's anything you need. And by the way, I've got an extensive list of vendors. So if you need anything from a plumber to a dog groomer, I want to be the first person you call. We have great people. And also, if you've used a vendor recently that you love, we're always looking to make this better. So we would like to know about that so we can add it to it. And just that service call to people, again, they're picking up the phone because they know that you're calling for a reason that you care. And it just takes away the, I don't know what to talk about. And a lot of times that leads into, we always tell our agents, if you lead with care, people will always return with care. So when we're calling with a service call, saying, hey, how are you in your home? Is there anything that you need? They will almost always return with care and say, hey, how are you? How's the business? Well, that's when the whole thing is shifted to real estate. You've made it about them, you made it about caring about them. Now it's shifted back to you. It'll always come back that way. So then you get to brag on whatever it is. Hey, it's a great year. You know what? We're having a great year this year, but it's completely because of people like you that are always going out of their way to refer us out. We really appreciate that. So it just makes it a lot easier.
And I think something you said in there, asking the clients if they had a good experience with the service provider. What if your clients are the service provider? That's a great way to bless them and to grow your database if you're marketing for each other, right? So if you're not tracking that in your database when your clients have a business, that is something that is extremely important. I think we forget that sometimes. Anybody else on systems? Anything you do that's helped you be successful, helped you be consistent? Pam? This is the thing that salespeople struggle with. I mean, I have to force myself into systems. Ian and I talked about this.
So, 32 years ago, I had a child, and she runs my systems. So, I
Go hire someone.
But it was the number one thing that we struggled with. And we actually meet in the middle of the year and plan out the next 12 months. So we know what's coming in, and we're consistent. Like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel anymore. Over the shiny pennies. And we just consistently do things. So every Monday morning, you're not going to be able to get a hold of Sarah because she's processing contracts from the weekend before. So I think also just making sure that everybody knows what their role is, and you've got everybody in the right spot to perform what their strengths are. So yeah, we have systems in place, but I don't have to deal with it.
And another good book, because I'm a book preacher, Who Not How. If you're not good at something, find someone who is, right? We're not going to be good at everything, and systems don't come naturally to a lot of us.
And looks like PSA, Sarah is delivering a baby at the end of January, so if anybody would like to help me out, February, March, I'm open.
Pam's hiring, okay. This is,
One thing that you said that I do think is really important is it's extremely rare that somebody who's both good at sales, relationship building, and good at systems. And a lot of times even when people come and interview to be on one of my teams, if they're super detail oriented and super good at systems and processes, I automatically know right away they're probably not going to be a great realtor. So if that's you, I'm sorry, I'm sure you're going to be good. But what I will tell you is that there's always somebody that's going to be better at it than you are. So finding it's always about the who, right? Who can help make your business better. Maybe you're brand new and you don't have the money to hire those people. I would find people that have those systems in place already and latch yourself onto them, right? What are you doing? What systems are you doing? And just follow that system, because then reinvent the wheel. It's already been done, right? So if you're not good at doing that, either find somebody that is and hire them, or if you don't have the money for it, find somebody that's doing what you want to do really well, that's super systems area and just follow that system. A lot of systems already done.
And I would just share one more thing too. The more that you can automate is really the answer. So that we don't get so, clogged down of like not like, oh my gosh, I gotta get that system, or it's taking away from the time that really you should be doing for the prospecting and the scripting. But there's lots of great ways to automate through on CRMs. I mean, Compass has fantastic automation. We can't even get through it all. I mean, there's just so much, but you can get everything automated in regards to direct emails and reminders and things like that. And that's really like your tips. Because if it's not to your point, something that you really naturally do, then that can do it for you. So that's really what I would do.
As realtors, there's probably a lot of high eyes in the room, there's probably a lot of ITs in the room, drivers, and those systems, people are not always. So make sure that you put it in your personal calendar that they can't see, time to appreciate them. Because what you appreciate appreciates, and don't forget about the hamster on the wheel that's making the machine go. Make sure that you appreciate them.
That is such a good tip. It's something that I struggled with early on for sure, because we move at a different pace and we expect everybody to move at that same pace, and we don't. And they don't necessarily want it the same way that we do, and so it's much more that they're important. So, anybody else on that? I do want to say, I teach finance classes to high school kids, and they are usually a lot smarter than you think, and a lot of them are looking to shadow people. So if you don't have the budget to hire someone, look at the high schools, look at some of the local colleges. They're looking to intern and learn what they want to do in the future. You maybe will need some free help there, and they're inevitably way better at technology than Brooke and I are, right, Brooke? Yeah, okay. Okay. I think that most of the time people hear from us on these types of events, like what we're good at. What was maybe a failure that you had early on that you learned from, or something you wish you knew when you started? Either one of those.
I don't know. There's a lot. Okay, so I started after college, I played tennis in college and I started as a tennis pro. And at the Kansas City Country Club, and all I did was yell at people and I didn't think before I spoke. Okay? So when I got into real estate, I carried that on. I was kind of immature. Now I'm really mature. But, so a long time ago, when I first started, Heather remembers this, I said something bad about a client in an email. And that email was on a chain and got back to them. And it was bad. It was really, really bad. So now I've learned, don't put things in writing. And I've learned to, well, I really haven't learned this, but a little bit. Think before you speak. Like, if somebody, take a deep breath. So if somebody says something, and if you're kind of, like, oh, you just want to scream, take a deep breath. And the other thing I will tell you is that I'm learning still, but remain calm. Like, if someone is freaking out, like I'm going through, there's a client today, this just literally happened today, breakup, he's refusing to sign the closing documents. And I said, okay, go ahead, that's fine. Call an attorney and let me know what your attorney says. Like, if you react, they're gonna react with you. So it's best for you just to remain calm, and most of the time, I would say it all works out, but sometimes it doesn't. But another thing I've also learned, which I'm still bad at, you can't control the outcome. So you can sit around and cuddle in it and get upset and be, I'm gonna be out commission, but what can I do? So it's out of my control. So, think about that. Sometimes you can't control it. So, okay.
I'll just add to that, because through years of having something very similar, is that it's sometimes okay to go to bed. Like 24 hours is actually a really good thing, and I've really had a hard time with that because we always want to solve everything. We're solvers, that's what we do. And that has been my new trick, is just go to bed So I would say that was probably one of my big things is that, you know, and that was actually one of the big ones getting started with video. I had to keep saying that because when you start thinking about video and you start getting on the social, you'll critique yourself to death, right? Oh my gosh, my hair's not right. Oh my gosh, my glasses don't match. Something doesn't match. You will critique. Sometimes you just have to say, done is better than perfect. You gotta get it done and move on to the next thing. Because we have so many other things to do and so many other people to see, and that's the biggest tip.
Question reminder, so something maybe you failed at in the beginning, or something you wish you knew when you started?
I wish I didn't think I had to know everything before I started. And I wish I would have given up control quicker.
Team's looking at you over there.
That was my
Has she given up control?
That was my husband neglect. And it doesn't always have to be perfect. Sometimes it just has to get done. And yes, and that everybody's perception of a situation, of a conversation, is their perception from wherever they're standing in their shoes. So, you know, we talk about this on the team all the time, like pick up the phone and call. Not because you're worried that it's going to get back to you right, but that too. Because you just never know what mindset somebody is in when they're reading something. So, yeah, it's their perspective, it's their experience, and it's not mine. I'm just facilitating it and helping them get to the finish line easier and quicker.
I failed at a ton of stuff. So the thing I've learned most from family is being a relational person and running a relational business is great when it works. It's really bad when it doesn't, mean that your people that you work with won't always use you to sell their home. And whenever you pour that much love and attention into them and they don't choose you the next time around, it can be soul crushing. And I think my wife will tell you that for the first few years of this, it would knock me out, man. I'll be in bed just like, what the heck did I do? Why did they hate me? So being as relational as we are, we're 98% referral based. When that happens, I've looked at it as a huge failure for years. And the shift in that really came with realizing, kind of what Pam said, it's not about you most of the time. It's about something they're going through. And it just happened. And this is a great example. I had the CFO of a major corporation here in Kansas City. I've worked with this person, worked with them 3 times. And this person called me crying. They just had a major thing at their corporation. They're like, hey, I'm going back. I'm getting out of Kansas City. I'm done. Hasn't happened yet, but I'll call you and we'll get this thing. I gotta get this thing sold. And the relational is like, oh, I'm sorry that happened. Yeah, just let me know what you need. Well, then I look, and all of a sudden, I hadn't heard from her for a while, and all of a sudden I look and the home is sold to somebody else. Somebody I worked with a lot, and historically that would knock me out again. But the shift has come over. It's not about me. It's something that person's going through. So now, what can I learn from that? What I took from that was, hey, I heard this person at what could have been one of the worst times in their lives, and I listened really well, but I didn't follow through and react. I probably should have followed up, but I didn't because I don't want to feel salesy whenever they're going through a hard time. But the best thing I could have done to serve that person at that time is follow up. And by not doing that, I could have put them in a position where they were working with somebody that didn't care as much, or that wasn't as good. I could have harmed them by not following up. So what I used to look at as a failure, now I look at as a learning opportunity every time. So what did I miss? What should I have done differently to make sure it doesn't happen? Then I use that. So you better believe the next person that called me with any sort of situation, I was following up like crazy. What can I do? I know this is a rough time. Let me know. I'll bring over coffee, bring over a dead dog mug, whatever you need.
We're gonna need the lid for the dogs, Hannah. Chris, that's brilliant, and I just wanna say two quick things. A mentor of mine said to me years ago, what if they don't get you? And you just kind of said this, what if they get someone who cares less, isn't gonna do as good a job? And so when you're having that reluctance to call people, or if you're going back to check in with people that you haven't talked to in a long time, it feels awkward, that's what you need to be thinking about. What if they don't get you?
truly believe that you are the best fit for that person, that you're going to love them like nobody else, you're going to serve them like nobody else, and that you are the person they need, then you're actually not doing them a favor by reaching out and calling them. If you look at it that way, then you're serving people that way. Ends call without touch. You're no longer scared to call because you're now scared.
No, I'm just kidding.
And I think yours goes the opposite too. How many of us have held on to a client that makes us want to drink poison, and right? And just let them go. Like we call it releasing them to the environment. It's okay to do that because they suck 90% of your time, all of your energy, and then the people who love and trust you already, you're not spending as much time with them, which is where we should be spending our time. So I think it goes the same way. We can let people go too, and I think that's really hard, especially when you're just starting out trying to grow your business. It's like, I need every client. You do not need every client. That was one of my big mistakes. Hannah?
I think I took things really personally, similar to all of these lovely people, and I've learned it's not that deep, you know? I think my identity in the early years, and I've only been doing this for 10 years, but in the beginning, I mean, realtor I was Hannah Shireman, realtor. And I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a mom. I really started to realize, like, okay, this really isn't that deep. And so, like, this person chose someone else instead of me, it's not that deep, you know? Like, yes, they're probably doing that for another reason. So, I think I learned not to take things personally because, yeah, we can't. Because if we took things personally, we would just, yeah, we would be really sad all the time, I think so.
Keep it for a second. Hannah does a great job in her talks of having balance. And this is a job that can be, I personally believe it has to be good at it, but that's the dialogue that's out there, right? You have to be available all the time. Share a little bit, because you are a mom, you have young kids, some balance tips for people.
My husband's in the front row, like, yeah, share with us. What balance?
We'll have him come up to you.
No, I think, honestly, growing up with my mom's Wendy Foyle, and, you know, she did honestly show my sister and I a lot of balance. She was at all of the things. She might have forgotten us at middle school a few times, you know, but, which is true, she will admit that. But I will say she did a really good job of making definite boundaries. So, like she said, I'm never coming in the house on the phone ever again. So we're on the phone all the time. We're constantly calling people. A lender's calling us. We're calling title, whatever. She would hang up the phone before she stepped in the door. So I tried to emulate that as much as possible. And I think just creating just protections around, especially my kids. I just want them to grow up feeling that I was really present, and so I try really hard to do that. I fail at it, I'm sure, a lot, but yeah, just, I mean, they're 3 and 4, so they're crazy, and I feel crazy around them, but yeah, also getting full-time daycare.
Oh, tell the phone. Tell the phone in the garage story.
Oh, yeah, hanging up the phone in the garage. Yeah, which, yeah, just, that was my mom's thing, is she would say, and really it became because my brother, who's much younger than me, was 2 at the time, and he would just walk around with play phones by his ear all the time, and she said, oh my gosh, I've got to hang up the phone. So, that was when she made that choice, and so I try to do that, yeah, and pulling in the car, in the garage, just like.
She does not walk in the house on her phone.
Yeah.
Which a lot of us do that, and I took that because I do that sometimes, and I love that. I think that's great. Who else? Anybody else on balance, on setting boundaries?
I think that's rough. I think that's really hard to do. I really do. But I do want to say that one tip that I got really a long time ago, because I swear that I have had it on every individual development plan ever in my life. You need balance. You need balance. You need balance. Every time in my past, if a CEO, CFO, whatever came in, they'd say, what are you doing with balance? And he said to me, he said, you know what? Does your husband feel like you're not there for him? Does your kids not feel? And I was like, I don't think so. I think my friends are cool. And he said, the minute that someone that you love or somebody that's close to you says that they're missing you, that's when your balance is off. So that made me feel a little better, because I great too, that it's like when somebody that you're missing. And I think that you have to set your boundaries. Like when I started in this industry, I said, I'm not, the reason I was traveling nonstop, I was traveling every single week, and I said, the one thing I'm not gonna miss is my kids' games. These are it, these are their high school days, these are the best, these are the best. And the minute that you do, those are the deals you don't get. I missed 3 in 4 years, 3 games in 4 years, because I was like, I'm not doing it, and I never got those deals. Because your heart's not in it. You're worried about the game, you want to be at the game, you want to hear it, you don't want to hear it from anybody else, but you want to see it. So just remember those special moments, but again, it's from people that say that maybe you they're missing you, then you know you gotta bounce back. Otherwise, go work, be you.
Anybody else on that? Okay. And it's okay to have an appointment with yourself that your clients don't need to know that's what it is, right? The appointments with your family, the appointments with your husband. Yes.
We call those commitments. Yeah, we don't tell people what they are, we just say we have a commitment until 7 o'clock. And when the kids were young, and I was in this business, I would sit down at somebody's table during a listing appointment, and I would say, I'm available from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., evenings and weekends by appointment, except Thursday nights, because my parents had both passed away, and I wanted to teach the kids how to cook, and I knew that they were going to go out into the world and eat Kraft macaroni and cheese all their life if I didn't teach them how to cook from scratch. So on Thursday nights, I said I will turn my phone off at 5 because the kids are going to pick recipes out of Mom's cookbook and they're going to cook from scratch. And people would leave me messages that said, hey, I know this is your family night. Don't worry about getting back to me. And what I realized is that most of them were just getting it off their plate. Like, they didn't want me to get back to them. They were just checking off their things so that they could go to bed. And so that has helped me set boundaries. So I don't often work after about 6:30 at night, unless there's a multiple offer situation or I'm going over a contract or something like that. But I don't let the busy work get in my space. And then I learned a long time ago from Darren Hardy. I don't know if you guys have listened to him or followed him. He would do jam sessions, and so I thought I was so busy all day long. And then I started doing these 90-minute jam sessions and putting my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I was like, oh, I can get it all done in an hour and a half. That's cool. So it did kind of free up my brain space when I worked during certain times, and block the rest of the distractions in the world out. So.
Well, the science shows that you're more efficient if you have shorter periods of time, right? It's like you go to a restaurant, there's no one in there, and the wait staff is also nowhere to be found, but it's busy, and they're on top of it. It's the same thing with our jobs. There's a lot going on. Everyone is working faster and more efficiently when we have more time. So if you leave it, you work all day and there's no shut off, or there's no time to flip, it's really easy to slower, take longer, get distracted.
Or I just pretend I'm going on vacation, because everybody turns it up right before they go out of town. Right?
I love what, I think it was your dad when he said, if you teach people that your family is important to you, they start the conversation with, I'm sorry to bother you during family time, but can you X, right? And you always can, you just maybe can't right then. But you teach them how to treat you. And that hasn't stopped any of you or me from getting business. So let's talk about teams, because I know there are people that are wanting to start a team or have a team and want to grow it. All of you are on a team or have a team. Any specific advice for someone really wanting a team concept? It doesn't have to be a specific topic.
So having been in this business for 19 years, and since about 2010, growing the team and losing people, and growing people and losing people, I've learned a lot. How much time do you have?
30 minutes.
Yeah. Check into them as humans and understand that when you pour into other people, they always show up. So I'm gonna say, holding them accountable and all of that great stuff to their own goals, and sitting in a class and then saying, what's your goal? And double it. That undue pressure is unnecessary. You don't have to do that to get people to show up and work hard. It's their goals that they want to achieve, And sometimes you just have to help them understand how to block things out to get there, to focus. So I've done it wrong a lot. I've lost a lot of people. I tried to put a square peg in a round hole a lot of times because I just had belief in them. I had more belief in them maybe than they had in themselves. So I would say align people with the same values. That is the most important thing, is to have people in the room that treat other people, treat themselves with the same values. Have respect, have integrity, figure out what your values are. Maybe your values are just to have fun. I don't know. That's my last thing. I'm going to take care of people first. And then pour into them and listen. And so we start our meetings with tell me something good. Kim's really good about going to lunch and having lunch. She slows down a little bit better than I do. And just checking in and listening to see where people are. And we have had really great people that have worked with us over the years. They were part of our world because they have that integrity. And I could not be more proud of the team that we have today as well. So, hopefully that helps.
A team means different things to different people. Everybody thinks they either want to have a team, or I mean that's really it. Everybody thinks the ultimate goal is to have a team. That just means different things to different people. It could be you and I have 12 people on my team. It could be you and an admin. So I think first of all, figuring out what that actually means to you. I think most people do not need to have a team unless they have excess leads. At least when it comes to agents. But if a team to you means, hey, I just need to get the stuff off my plate that I'm not good at, then great, go find that person. But I think a lot of people make the mistake as they start to get success in real estate to form a team because that's their version of success. And they bring out all these people that are struggling and say, boom, we're a team, and now we're successful. When it's really unnecessary. But so I think if you are looking to start a team, first ask yourself, what do I actually need? And most likely you need to get things off your plate that you're not good at. And so start there with admin or whatever that looks like for you. And then as that business grows, you start to get excess leads, and that's when you can start bringing people on to try to take more of that stuff off your plate. If you want to be successful as a team, then you really need to, I mean, my guy over here has the shirt on, it's perfect. We are bigger than the me. It's like when the we becomes bigger than the me, then we all succeed. So if you want to have a successful team, then you need to make the focus on helping those people achieve all their big goals. And if you can focus on the people on your team, help them achieve their big goals, their big whys, then yours are automatically going to be taken care of. For people that are thinking about joining a team, I think a lot of people get hung up, first of all, on split, and that they're giving away money. I think it's never really to do with how much money you split, how much money you're giving away, but more about if that team can actually help you reach your ultimate goals. What are your actual goals? What's important to you? Can that team help you get there? That's the one question we always ask people: say, how much do you want to make in a year? If they're like, you'd be surprised what people will say. Hey, I'd really love to make 6 figures. Okay, great. If I can help you make 6 figures, first of all, you care what the split is. And a lot of times it's no. This is my goal. Okay, well, what else what other goals do you have? Let's talk about what are the 4 most important things in your life. Well, that's going to be family, that's going to be God, it's going to be my job, all these different things. And then you go through each one of those things. Okay, well, in regards to your family, if we look down the road 5 years from now, and we're sitting on the front porch 5 years from now, we're like, man, the last 5 years have just been awesome. What has happened in regards to your family? That you can sit there 5 years from now and say, awesome, like, well, man, I've been able to go on 3 vacations a year. I've been able to go to all my kids' games. All that stuff, that's great, but that's a 5-year goal, so let's start to work backwards from that. So once you start realizing what's important to you and finding a team that can help you reach all those goals and the most important things, that's how I would hunt for a team. The money part is secondary.
I love what you said, because so many people think about the money and they are not thinking about the value, right? Okay. How about this? Is there any, because people are always asking us about technology. I believe it's important, but not the end all be all. Is there a technology you use? So we talked about needing to automate your business, right? Is there a technology that any of you are using that genuinely helps you automate and allows you to do more business?
when you think about that, that's your resource to help you save time, to give you ideas, to get creative, all those different things. Like, I think that is probably the best technology there is out there, and it's only beginning, right? There's so many other options. So I would say that is like probably my number one.
So give an example of what you did to ChatGPT on a daily basis.
I'll do the silliest things. I mean, I was driving, well, this is probably not a good example, but driving and doing ChatGPT on, I mean, yeah, you can do the simplest things of even like, write a note for me really quick because your brain is fried. Like, write a thank you note, write a congratulations note. I mean, it'll be like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you can do the simplest things. I definitely have all my listings in there. I actually, just yesterday had that, and it's again, how specific you are. The more you use it, it knows you. It's so crazy. I use one through my coaching portal as well, and that one's even better because it's all real estate. So then you're like, dang, they got it. Whereas ChatGPT is the world, right? It's everything. But when you get through one, and Compass as well it's through real estate, so you can really use it. But I asked for a document that was like, best start, stop, continue, right? Like, hey, create the best start, stop, continue document in a PDF form that I can print that will say these things. Bum, bum, boom. Came out in a PDF form in less than a minute, and that thing can be printed. So that's the thing that, you would have been searching for that from the past, but it can do that for you, and it can make something more futuristic. And so I think the more, I mean, I'm seriously like, I'll show you my portal. It's pretty scary because I put everything in there. It's awesome.
We have something coming up I'm really excited about. At Real, they showed it and launched it at the Rise convention. So the discussion was around nobody's going to download your app and then set themselves up on search. So we're all getting AI phone numbers, so it'll be texting from us directly and learning our voice. And I'm really excited about that. So if somebody says, hey, I want to see houses in Overland Park from 500 to 600 with at least 4 bedrooms and a 3-car garage, it's going to send them a list of that. So, and then notify us when we need to get involved for a showing. So I guess my answer is the AI phone number coming, getting me out of the way and giving me a little bit more balance. So that's coming in second quarter of 2025. Otherwise, your system, I mean, we use Brevity, so we have a system that we can send out alerts and people get notifications and all that stuff, and the CRM.
Yeah, Brevity's a CRM, but I would also tell you, and I'm gonna pick on you, Hannah already mentioned she's a Google Sheet, right? And Brooke does as well, right? 2 huge builders, they don't have a lot of fancy bells and whistles. They're tracking stuff on a basic Google Sheet, Excel sheet, and sometimes that's enough. They're always trying to sell us things. We need this, buy this. How many of you have bought a bunch of stuff you never used or logged into or forgot how to log into? It doesn't have to be complicated, right?
Yeah, Google Sheets is amazing.
Precious.
Yeah, well, so CRM, like I feel like I've bought a million CRMs. I'm sure we all have. There's lots of like little gimmicky things, like just $9.99 a month, and you will remember to text this person. But one thing that I think someone said when we were at the Reese Nichols Leawood office, Andrew Neisler, I adore this saying, but it's if you think of someone the first time, the second time is too late. And that just absolutely stuck with every one of us because it's literally, the first time is just like a gift from God. Like He just planted that person for the right reason in your brain. So if you're driving by their house, they'll text them that you love what they did with the front door or whatever it is. If you're in the neighborhood that you sold a home, you should always be texting someone that you sold a house in that neighborhood. It's an easy oh, I'm still working, I still do real estate, so always use those like little things that come to your brain about that person. The second time might be too late. So that's not technology, but that's all right. So
That's great advice. But your phone has all the technology you need. If you have your phone programmed correctly and everyone's in there, categorized the way that it will trigger your memory, that's all you need. Okay, so this is a relationship business, but it's also relationships with our co-op agents, right? And I think so many agents forget the importance of that
buyers because of our friendship, like that is a thing. So, do you have any advice on managing great co-op relationships and making sure that you're a good partner to your other agents?
I will just say, in this big group of people, be transparent. It's so easy to like get super caught up with protecting your client's best interest, which I totally agree, do that. But be transparent as possible. We're all trying to get to the closing table, and don't over buyer's agent is what we say, and don't over listing agent something just because you want to, win or whatever. Be a friend, be normal and nice, and that honestly goes a long way. I feel like all of us have done stuff together because we're good friends, because we all are trying to get to the end together in a positive way. So if I know someone's calling me that maybe I don't know, so if you are new in the business and you're feeling like, well, yeah, I'm never getting anything because you're choosing these people, honestly, just be really positive, super engaging, be really communicative, and super transparent. I feel like those things go a long way, and you will do a lot of business if you're having that sort of, and use your people on your team. Say, oh my gosh, Hannah said she just closed a deal with you, and that you were amazing. I'm amazing too. Whatever. I was constant. I think my first 5 years of real estate, I was like, I'm gonna be Fla's daughter. She's awesome, and whatever. So use the people in your space to also go that direction.
No, I think what she said was great. Yeah, I guess in this business, if you're going to be a jerk real estate agent to other people, you're not going to make it very far. It's nice to be in the business for a long time, but I mean, we do, fortunately or unfortunately, if I know I'm working with Hannah, I know it's going to be a smooth deal. Like it'll go to close if I'm working with Aaron. I know, so I guess the more you do and the more you get to know people, people know which agents will close the deal. And there are agents in this town, I'm not repeating that, that I don't want to work with, unfortunately. And so try to be kind and honest and, straightforward to your peers.
Brooke, you don't have to say the names, but you know who some of those people are. Because they're that way to everyone, right? Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that you're going to implement new in 2025?
No, so I'm at a really weird stage in life in that I've got older teenagers that have activities, and it's a second full-time job. So for us, if it's not broke, don't fix it, don't reinvent the wheel. I love that. We've been successful for a long time, but I really want to, for 2025, work on quality of life without sacrificing income. So that's pretty much our focus, not just for myself, but for everybody on my team. I want to figure out systems and processes to continue growing the business, growing income, helping people reach their goals, their big whys, while also growing your quality of life. I think it's possible. But we want to systematize it as well.
It's possible, and I love that. Thank you.
I'm gonna ask for more. In 2025, my goal is to make sure that everybody on the team exceeds their goal. So we have a pretty good machine running, that consistently we get come list me calls or, can you help my buyer calls? So I'm super grateful for that. And I want to make sure that all of our team members, exceed their goals too. So, and I get to hear really cool stories when they do. And then I'm stating this is recorded. I'm going to get back into open houses for 2 reasons. I'm inspired. And we have about the same number of transactions this year as we had in 1995. And so our transaction volume has gone down significantly. So if you're feeling like agents out there are a little bit on edge, it's because their income's probably gone down a little bit. What we're going to see is an exodus from the people that are not producing, and we're going to see the cream rise to the top, right? And so I think we're going to have an industry change where the people that continue to do this and do it at a high level are going to be the ones that survive. So I'm pretty good when I get belly to belly with people. And in order to do that, I got to get in the game, and open houses were how I started. And I miss that. I miss those interactions with those people. So that's our 2025 change, is making sure our team members fully succeed and getting my face back out there and taking a shower before noon on a Sunday.
Okay, I have one more question, but then we'll open it up to you guys. So start thinking about any questions you may want to ask. We'll be able to take a few. Maybe share just one piece of best advice for everybody.
For brand new agents, when I started, somebody said get into 5 houses and preview 5 houses a day. So for 5 days a week, I would get my feet in the door to preview 5 houses. 25 houses a week really helps you get to know an area. If you are doing an open house, whatever, make sure you're previewing all of the houses that are actively on the market, and you're calling the agents with pendings, and you're calling the agents with recently sold properties too, so that you can learn what's going on in the market before you hold that house open.
Real estate is a contact sport, and if you're not initiating the contact, then you're going to get hurt. It resonated really well with me as an athlete. If you're not initiating that contact, then you usually take the brunt of every hit. Again, I've said this already, but your people out there are not thinking about you at all. As hard as that is to sound, to hear, they're not thinking about your business. They're not wondering if you're successful. They already think that because you're a realtor, you're successful because they all watch TV. And that's the whole reason we have 12,000 agents here, because they love to look at houses and we're all successful. But that's just not the case. It's a contact sport, and so if you're going to be successful, you have to be willing to pick up the phone, do contact. You can have all the technology in the world. Those of us that have been in the business for a long time, we've seen tons of technology come and go. There's always a shiny object to chase. It's a contact sport. Get out and contact people. Do it with love. Do it with care. And we'll always return with care. You will grow in success every year.
Building things personally would be my biggest piece of advice. Also, become highly efficient. I think you could maybe say I am lazy in a lot of ways, and that's because I want to figure out the most efficient way to do something. So I'm automating, I'm hiring, I'm doing whatever I need to do to be the most efficient person in the room. So I think, become highly efficient, read books about efficiency, whatever that looks like for you. And and that's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
I would say the best advice, especially for new people too, is you've got to spend every day talking to people. And when new agents come on, they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, go talk to somebody. And my goal is never to have lunch alone. So I'm ready for lunch, everybody. But I really have always made that goal, is that if you never have lunch alone, always meet with somebody and talk with people. And if you don't know who to talk to, if you don't know where to go, then find a group. Create a group. I know I'm in a business group, I'm in a B&I group. It's been like my favorite time of the week. Every Thursday morning, started 8.5 years ago, and I'm still in it because I love it. So find that group that's going to be your partners and outside maybe your team or whatnot. Sometimes it's just nice and healthy. And now I have 1 million contractors to just rely on too. So pretty cool. So just be talking to people all the time.
Mine is probably, we learned this when we were 3. Work hard.
Great.
Work hard. It's true. Okay, we can probably take a few questions. Anybody have one? Yeah, Nadia?
Yeah, I have a question to Jennifer. And you mentioned when you running an open house, you know every single area.
Yep.
Are you talking about your listings or it's somebody? Because if it's somebody's open house, you have information on Thursday. Yes, you have time, but you do not yours.
Yeah. So everything else about the community. So
If it's a person, no.
down to, again, like the best restaurants, the best, areas to go to have fun, and then anything else you know about the sales in that area. So knowing like the best time, like the best time that you're at an open house and you can tell somebody, but hey, did you see that one around the corner? And they're like, no, I didn't. But you're still listening, but you're still like telling them about another house. They're like, no, you know what? I'm done at 3. Do you want to go see it? Have you done that? And they're like, no way. Yeah, 3:15. I'll see you there. I'll make the appointment. So because you've known, so it's just really kind of that knowledge of like everything that you can share about that community in the sense of anything with sales, anything that you can see, even in pre-MLS, knowing all those things too, and then being that local market expert, right, about everything else. Does that make sense?
Who are your favorite YouTubers that you listen to for motivation or for developing your sales skills? Is there anybody that you like?
I mean, my favorite is Mel Robbins. I like every morning I get an email from her, I find out what she's gonna say, and it's always just so relative. Guys, girls, and everybody, I mean, she's just really good, but somebody else can say something that I love.
So everybody knows I'm new to Real, so I am all about just digesting everything that Sharon puts out there. He's got a business school podcast that's amazing. I'm listening to that all the time, and Brian Buffini is excellent as well. There's always quality that comes out of a Buffini podcast.
Any other maybe books or things that you would read that would help?
I'll shout out Brian Buffini because it's just about world and we live, eat, and breathe everything that he puts out. But if you're not following that podcast, I highly recommend it. But then my all-time favorite book is one that he actually wrote called The Immigrant Edge, and the whole premise of it is why are there so many immigrants that are so wealthy that have run such big businesses? It's just because if you take an immigrant that moves to America and gives them all the contacts and all the opportunities that you have as somebody that's grown up here with all the privilege that you have, what would they do with the opportunities that you have? And so that's why they come here and they just work that hard. And so it just really reset my mind to say, I need to work like that. Like I have no plan B. But Brian has a podcast. He runs one of the largest coaching companies in America and Canada. And I can't say enough about how that has changed my life.
I have a question for Hannah. Hannah, my daughter is Natalie Moore. She just idolizes you.
Oh my gosh,
And I have a
that's so
question for you. So, on all of your Instagram reels and everything, are you doing it yourself, or do you have someone follow you around with the camera, or?
Yes, I do everything myself, but I love it. So like that's the biggest piece is it is something I really enjoy, and I think if I didn't enjoy it, I would hire someone. I told my mom the other day, like hire someone, because it's just if it's not natural or it's something that you don't love to do, hire someone to do it for you. Because that's how passionate I am about it. But I've always been like techie. I've always been like, what's the newest phone? How can I get it? I'm using the family upgrade because I'm getting the sidekick. Like those are the things that I feel like I've always been like, I gotta have the best technology in terms of like the phone. But
I was gonna say, do you have attachments where you do
no, but I would say the biggest practical piece of advice is open your phone, go to the camera app, in the top right corner you can switch to 4K, and you can switch to 60 frames, whatever. Well, it's not really, but and that's how I shoot all of my stuff. So every is 60 and 4K and 0.5 zoom out. And always make sure your camera lens is clean. That is like the #1 issue that I see. I mean, if I'm like at a listing or if I'm recording something, you'll see me going like this 1,000 times because I want the clearest image. So I'm constantly cleaning my camera. That's the #1 mistake. So don't do that. Karen?
We do both. I have somebody that we have help with marketing as well, and then I do some myself too, but not like Hannah. But I also feel that it's one of those things that you have to schedule right when we talk about scheduling, because sometimes we get so busy and it's like, oh my gosh, I am the worst at catching sometimes things in the moment where you like really do, some people do. I have to like mentally be like, today. Slow down and actually capture all the things that you're doing, because that's like part of like how you get the authentic you, right? So sometimes you just have to schedule and batch, and that's okay. So that's what I try to do is I schedule and batch 2 times a month. That I'll be like, okay, for 2 hours we're gonna do some videoing on these things, and then before every video for listings, like you gotta prep it, right? I mean, I think we're getting a little bit more natural, so it's like a little bit easier, right, Jordan? I'm just kidding. But some of it you have to think about, like, okay, I need some props for this, or whatever I want to stand for in this listing, because every listing has something. So thinking about that, it does take a little bit of time, but you kind of just have to think about what that is. Like I just did one that's coming out on Friday that I talked to Jordan about, and I was like, okay, it's right on a golf course. I don't really golf, but I'm gonna try to golf, and I was killing it, by the way. I was killing it. I like sent that video to my son and said, hey honey, I'm gonna be in the foursome on Saturday. But like that's the stuff we have to plan. No, I'm serious. It was like super funny, but it's like how do you become creative and what do you want to stand for? So it's like I think it's like batching kind of has been the way it has worked for me. Yeah, and then you just get a bunch done.
One thing too, really quick, I was gonna say is start thinking about your recording or whatever as documentation and not content creation. Because I think a lot of times we're like, okay, I gotta create content. Okay, coming to this restaurant, and just think about documenting your life. Like right now, a recording, going to your favorite restaurant, taking a picture of the food. All of it is documenting, and that becomes content creation. So even if you just start documenting stuff, send it to someone, pay them to create.
Can you do a Hannah class?
I love doing this. I have done Hannah
We'll
classes.
do a call class, we'll do a Hannah class, we'll do all the classes. I was gonna say, Jordan is in the back of the room, he does the media for our group. He makes the faces look better, he does all the things, he's amazing, so chat with him if you haven't. Hannah, you do a planning for content, I saw you post that every week you meet, right? Planning.
Once a month, but yeah.
The other thing I would say is keep a running list. I don't know about you, but something comes in your head, to me anyway, and it's gone. We have it, it's one of the tabs on our Google Drive is video content. So if I have an idea, I put it there immediately because we'll batch it if we don't do anything like Hannah. I need a lot of help, but take notes and make lists so that when you're ready to do it, you know what you want to chat about. Anyone else? Probably one more. Oh yeah, sorry, Jackson.
I have a specific question for Brooke Miller. So in the past, have you encountered a situation that you work with a co-op agent that he or she might have not a very good reputation, or you have worked in the past, and then you actually didn't want to work with that person, but your client happened to like the house, or you had to work with it, and how do you stay professional, and then how do you overcome and get transaction closed?
Okay, so there's as agents that are in the business and have been selling for a while, everybody knows in this room who some of the agents are. And when your buyer pulls up to your house and you see it, you might cry, and you might even pee yourself a little bit because you're like, oh my God, do I have to work with this person? But you guys, at the end of the day, you have to be professional. I mean, you can't, it's your buyer's choice, you're working for your buyer. And it's awful, but you can't, I guess some of the worst things I maybe even said is like, God, do you ever pick up your phone? Or like, it would be really nice if you could pick up your phone. It sucks, but you just gotta do it, right?
I think it's you can guide them, guide that other agent to help them, like you just said.
Sometimes there's no help in it.
Sometimes there's no help.
But then you just think, you have to think about all those great agents that are out there. And then, you might have to say not every single client is great that we work with. Sometimes we have people that are terrible.
Deals are done all the time because of friendships. So if you are not taking time to network with other agents, connect with them, maybe add them to the thank you note list after you've done a transaction if they're good, right? Like that goes a long, long way. There's a ton of business that gets done simply because of who knows who. So make time for that. Anything else you guys want to say? Okay, a couple things. I want to highlight we'll have a happy hour over here, so we'd love for you to stay and hang out with some of your peers. A friend of mine, Paige White, owns KC Cocktail Company. For any of you that are looking at doing events, they have a coffee cart. They have a bunch of different cocktail options. She's got all kinds of cool stuff, and it's very reasonable. So definitely check that out. I would also say that there's a lot of people that do what all of us do in this group, and it would mean a lot if anyone who got up here to speak resonated with you, or you're looking for a new partner in any of those fields, that you give them a shot, because there are a lot of us, but there's not a lot of us that do this and care so much about the aging community that gives to us. Try to give back to you. So if one of them calls you and reaches out, I would love it if you'd at least give them a shot. It would mean a lot to us. And then how about a giant round of applause for these rock stars? I guess I do have one last thing. We don't have a date yet, but our next event will be Dave Childers from Keeping Current Matters. He will be here in person. So that will be a great event. Those of you that work with us will also get to spend some smaller one-on-one time with him, but look out for that invite. Thank you.